Can you get the star on the top of Snowman's big head while riding a Koopa Shell? This is the question I wanted to figure out in one of my favorite games of all time, Super Mario 64. For those of you who don't know, the Koopa Shell is an item found in some levels in Super Mario 64. And I'm not talking about blue shells from Mario Kart. It allows you to surf across the levels with incredible speed, and because of this, it's my favorite item in the game. But it does come with two big downsides. The first being that once you start on this thing, there's no brakes. The only way you can slow down at all is by jumping. This makes it pretty difficult to control. And the other is that you'll stop riding the shell if you bonk into any wall. So if you crash into anything, it's game over and you have to start the level all over again to get it. So I chose Snowman's big head for the star for this challenge because I knew it would be very difficult with both of these shortcomings of the Koopa Shell. To get there, you have to take a very precise path up a large mountain in the middle of the level. Not only is it super easy to fall off the sides of the mountain while you're scaling it, but there's tons of little walls that you can crash into on the way up. And the lack of railing at the top of the level makes it one of the more difficult stars even when you're not riding on a Koopa Shell. So the rules of the challenge were pretty basic. All I needed to do was ride the Koopa Shell to the top of the mountain and collect the star while still on the Koopa Shell. But as I would soon find out, this is a lot easier said than done. On my early attempts, I was still not completely confident in my navigation skills on the shell, so I ended up using the jump a lot, because jumping will slow you down. But going slow also meant that I couldn't jump as high. And as you just saw, the tiny piece of railing that I needed to get on to get to the upper level of the mountain was extremely skinny. Not only did I need to stay on it to get up, but I also had to make sure I wasn't touching the wall at all or else I would be knocked off the shell. But even with this issue, I was undeterred. I knew that theoretically this could be done, but it would take a lot of precision. With each new attempt, I was gaining more and more confidence with my ability to control the Koopa Shell. But I was still probably jumping a bit too much for my own good, and oftentimes this was messing me up. At this point, curiosity was getting the better of me, and I thought that there might be a different way that I could scale the mountain, which would be much easier. You see, the backside of Snowman's Big Head Mountain is extremely steep, but because there's at least somewhat of an incline, you can actually jump up it. By doing this, I could almost get to the upper level of the mountain, but it seemed like I was getting stuck and couldn't get any higher. This eventually led me to bonking, and I fell back down the mountain. But not only was I making progress in new routes up the mountain, I was also finding new ways to get to the Koopa Shell itself much faster by doing a shortcut over this small hill. I tried the route up the backside of the mountain one more time just to be sure, but once again, when I was nearly to the top, I bonked and fell back down. Are you okay there, Mario? So I kept this idea of going up the backside of the mountain in the back of my mind, but decided to go for the traditional route once again. I figured out that you can go over these big boulders at the beginning, which makes for a more direct route, and I was feeling pretty confident in myself until this happened.
Mamma mia!
Even though I barely touched that stupid tree, I got knocked off my shell. But I wasn't gonna let this stop me. I just had to be more careful. That's it, almost there. Are you kidding me? I was almost up to the top ice path where the penguin is. From there, I knew it would be tricky because the giant snowman head at the top always tries to blow you off of the mountain. The way that you're supposed to solve this puzzle is by standing behind the penguin as you cross the entire icy path. But I was careless at the top once again, and the penguin knocked me off. In order to cross the ice path at the top, I knew I would need to jump behind the penguin all the way across. This is tricky because the penguin likes to walk back and forth, and will try to mess you up as you cross. So I try to stay right next to the penguin, but once I was about halfway, I decided to just go for it because it didn't look like the text box for the snowman was popping up at all. I may have messed up at the very top, but this discovery was huge. The big snowman head wouldn't blow wind at me at all, since I was only touching the Koopa Shell and not the ground. And finally, I was to the very top. Well, almost the very top. You see, there's this block right here that normally you would hop up and then do a double jump or a backflip in order to get to the top of the snowman's head. But you see, the problem is, even if I was jumping and holding the button, I did not have enough height to get to the top. This was going to be a major issue, and I had no idea how I was going to solve this one. But I did know one thing: the only way to jump higher on the Koopa Shell was to go faster. But before becoming a speed demon, I wanted to experiment just a little bit more to see if there was any other paths up to the very top of his head. First, I tried going around the back side of the mountain to see if I could get up going this way. I could see the top area where the block was, but when I tried to hop up to it, I would bonk. I had also been getting quite a bit of practice in with the most efficient way to get to the Koopa Shell by now, and I was using a triple jump along with silly kicks to get there extremely fast now. While messing around, I figured out that if you get enough speed and time a jump just right, you can actually jump off of the penguin's head. This did give me some ideas, but I wanted to go for a pure speed approach first. So I built up some speed and jumped onto the block and then up and tried to get to the star. I was this close! Now this strategy seemed promising. After messing around for a little bit, I was ready for round 2. This time I figured I'd go around the entire ice bridge loop in order to gain a lot of speed before I went for the jump. And I was getting more and more confident on the shell. This time, Mario was so high up his nose was above the ledge. On my next attempt, something very unusual happened. When I was trying to get up to the block, I accidentally fell between this crack, and I went down a hill and slid backwards at an incredible speed. This made me wonder if I possibly could exploit the backwards speed in order to get up to the top somehow. But before I explored that option, I wanted to keep going with my fast route. This time, instead of jumping out and away from the block, I tried jumping directly towards the snowman head. As you can see, just like before, Mario's nose was just above the ledge. But this still wasn't enough for me to be able to clear the wall and get up to the star. I was now feeling very confident that this was actually possible and that I could pull it off. Did you see that? I may have just discovered a new useless glitch in a game that came out 2 years before I was born. Did you guys know it was possible to clip into these blocks? Not that it really does anything. So, at this point, the question was, which approach was the best? Should I continue with the speed route, or was it better to experiment more with the backwards speed or jumping off of the penguin's head? Well, to be honest with you, I thoroughly explored every single one of these options. I experimented a lot with the backward speed, and by jumping down a ledge backwards, I could gain insane speed and control Mario. But whenever I would try to jump, it was shortened to a very small hop. Because of this, the backward speed was ruled out pretty quickly. Even though it would give me insane momentum, there was no way it could give me extra height. The speed method continued to go very well, but I was always about 1 foot away from clearing the wall and reaching the star. As for the penguin method, I practiced until I could jump on his head repeatedly, but even then, jumping towards the star was pointless, because I was further away and lower than when I just jumped off of the block. What I did discover though was 3 routes that were way faster than the original one I had been using this whole time to get to the top of the mountain. Remember how at the beginning I tried scaling the back of the mountain to climb up it, but I gave up? Well, it was possible all along. I just needed enough speed and a jump in the right place. Well, this was it. The speed method was the only one I could see realistically working in my mind. And so I gave it one last attempt. And I did it! Let's go! Actually, no. To be real with you guys, I came this close to getting the star, but no matter what I did, I could not get to this stupid star on the Koopa Shell. So, is it possible? To be honest, this is Super Mario 64, so I'm sure it is. Personally, I was not able to pull it off, but I would love to hear your guys' ideas on methods I could use to reach the top, and I would love to revisit this challenge in the future. This star might haunt me forever, but I didn't want to leave you guys on a low note. So, please sit back, relax, and enjoy this unintentional grand finale.
Ready, go!
Oh my gosh, I wanted to tell you guys thank you so much for the amazing reception to the shiny Pokemon video. It's already almost to 50,000 views, and it's only my second video on this channel. And I've already got over 700 subscribers. You guys really are the best. Some of you have already given me really good ideas for future game challenges, but I would love even more, so leave me a comment down below on what I should do next. All your comments were amazing, and I loved reading through them. By the time this video goes up, the lucky winner of Razzie should be selected. But if you didn't win, don't worry, I plan to do more shiny hunts and shiny giveaways in the near future. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on the new challenge videos as they come out. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and subscribe. Thanks guys.